Coming up, wood mulching industries at Swanbank under extra scrutiny with a revised application to change some previously approved conditions. The original application attracted one submission which raised concerns about odour from green waste. In this episode, you'll hear highlights of the committee's concerns and answers from Council's Development Planning Manager. It's Friday, June 17, 2022, and I'm Alan Roebuck. Welcome to Ipswich Today, which acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land on which it is produced and pays respects to elders past, present and emerging. This podcast is supported by Kinetics, people-powered web hosting trusted by Australian businesses since 1999. From the June 2022 round of Ipswich City Council's committee meetings, the Growth, Infrastructure and Waste Committee took considerable time over changes to a previous application from Wood Mulching Industries. This application is somewhat technical and is available to read in full online. But to summarise, changes include amendments to approved plans, roadworks, access and parking. Committee Chairperson Mayor Teresa Harding kicked off a lengthy series of questions to Council Officer Anthony Bowles.
Obviously this DA, when it came to us in March, we went the discussion, I think we went into closed session, and we also had a long discussion about this because we're very keen to drive the market for investment composting and things like that. So to see this come back for a clarification, I have a couple of questions. They're asking for a change to the road to be built. Could you outline the changes that they're wanting that I've put forward to Council?
The condition currently requires the road to be constructed entirely on their property. At the moment, the applicant owns properties on both sides, and the road reserve is split between properties subject to the application and subject to a separate approval that has been granted. The requirement of the condition requires the development to be essentially shifted down to accommodate the entirety of the proposed road to be on their property. However, the existing approvals also include the requirement to construct the road, and therefore it is possible for a scenario where half the road is constructed as part of this approval, where the other part is constructed on the other approval, therefore leaving it in its current approved place. As they are the applicant and approval owner and landowner for both land, subject to that road requirement, one of the options we've inserted in the change representations is that if it is already constructed under the other approval, it isn't necessary to shift the development south. So the road is still going to be constructed.
Okay.
It's just whether it's in its current alignment or in between the two existing lots. Is there
a change in the materials that's going to be constructed out of?
There is a request for a change to part of the internal part of the roadworks inside the site to gravel, but we haven't approved that just yet. We haven't got enough information from that request to make an assessment of that. The existing approval condition actually does allow us to have some discretion in determining the materials used for that section of road that there has been a request to make a change. So as it is, we can accommodate the change down the track without making a change to the permit.
There's a bit of lot reconfiguration happening. Would you mind, in simple terms, explaining how that benefits the people of Ipswich?
Part of the development eventually leads to a connection of Mount Juliet Road through what we probably call an east-west road, further through Swanbank and eventually to Ripley. The proposal and the future land subdivision around the site needs to accommodate that road. So by preserving that road corridor, we preserve the right to construct that road through what we have in an infrastructure agreement down the track. So really just clarifying those requirements and ensuring that the approval doesn't compromise our ability to achieve that road.
Councillor Sheila Ireland raised safety concerns for motorcyclists on nearby roads.
And my second question was about the wheel wash during the wet weather. I don't know whether they were using the wheel wash or not, but there was a lot of clay brought out onto Mount Juliet, and I had a complaint from a motorbike rider who was coming out to get onto Centenary and his tyres slipped on it. We're not making them build that half road to start off with, so are we going to put some conditions on them that if there's dust brought out into the road, they have to come and clean it?
I can check on that. I mean, there will be, for this proposal, there will be a wheel wash and there will be a section of concrete after that. So I think that will be better managed through this approval than the current approval by a long margin. In terms of cleaning the dirt on the roads, if it, for example, the wheel wash isn't effective for a particular vehicle, that's something that we might be able to contact them to rectify, making sure the wheel wash is working 100%. That's what we would normally do if we have that scenario. Otherwise, that's something we might need to look into if we get a request to clean the road. But in all circumstances, the wheel wash should be effective with the proposal that we've been given.
Stockpile heights were a concern for Councillor Andrew Fechner.
With regards to the height of the stacking of the materials, particularly the paragraph that points to Council's reasons as to why it would impose that condition, being the potential undesirable visual impacts from uncontrolled stacking of materials. And then we go on to say that while this will be retained, it will be amended to clarify the height of 3 metres does not apply to the windrows or stockpiles. Do we know, with regards to the site layout, that those higher piles might not be in the locations where the visual amenity would be impacted or not?
Look, I'm fairly confident that the visual amenity won't be an issue because of for example, the height of the windrows are limited by the machinery required to construct them. So they're not these giant cranes. They're only medium-high vehicles. So there's a natural limit on the windrows, for example. The stockpiles themselves are limited to certain locations that are, I suppose, further away from the highway and further away from areas that are creating would suffer from the visual amenity impacts of that. So you got to remember there's the highway, then there's like an area of land, then there's road. The biogas facility is partially in front of a lot of these storage areas as well. So I'm fairly confident that it wouldn't be an issue.
That was my thought process as well. I just wanted to clarify in terms of the logic, in that paragraph. So thank you.
With an additional recommendation added, the committee gave the green light to this latest development application. A reminder, you'll find links in the show notes to all council minutes and agendas. You can also watch meetings live and on demand at Council's YouTube channel. Ipswich Today is supported by Kinetics, people-powered web hosting trusted by Australian businesses since 1999. This podcast is also listener-supported. Please make a once-only gift or regular donation to help keep it online. Just go to ipswichtoday.com.au and click the donate button on the homepage to make a payment through PayPal. Follow and stream this podcast from your favourite app, including iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcasts, or play Ipswich Today from smart speakers. Music is supplied by Purple Planet Music. This is Alan Roebuck. Thank you for listening.